Which of the 4 upgrades Combat Shield, Stim Pack, +1 Weapon and +1 Armor is the strongest for Marines when fighting Adepts? I created 40 Marines and 20 Adepts. The Marines have Combat Shield, no other upgrade. We're going to take this fight, see who's going to win, and then we're going to compare it to the other upgrades. Let's give it a go. Attack. Yo, it's a win for the Adepts with 5 remaining. Round 2. The Marines have Stim Pack. Again, no other upgrades. Attack. Stim. Yo, and again, it's a win for the Adepts with 7 remaining. Round 3. +1 Weapon on the Marines. Go. And by the way, the Adepts don't have any kinds of upgrades, just the glaive. Yo, and with a +1 weapon, it's a very nice win for the Marines with 30 remaining. Round 4. Marines have +1 armor upgrade, nothing else. Attack. Again, it's a win for the Adepts with 6 remaining. I also want to include the base case, so this is now the case with no upgrades on the Marines. Attack. Alright, and again we have win with 6 Adepts remaining. So in this simulation, the +1 weapon upgrade was the strongest one for the Marines, but why is that? Alright, so now please check out this Excel sheet. I created one column for each of the 5 scenarios. Then we look at the Marine HP. So the base HP of the Marine is 45. After stimming it has 35 and with shield 55. Okay, the Adept does 22 damage, and this means that it takes usually 3 hits to kill the Marine in each of the scenarios, but in the Stim scenario the Adept kills the Marine in only 2 shots. Okay, then the Adept has a cooldown of 1.11, and from this I calculated the average lifespan of the Marine. So for example, if it takes 3 hits to kill the Marine with a cooldown of 1.11, the Marine survives for 3.3 seconds on average. Okay, here we have the Marine damage. This is 6. In the case with +1 attack, the damage gets increased to 7. Then we have the Marine cooldown. The Marine usually has a cooldown of 0.61, but stimming takes down the cooldown to 0.4. Okay, and from this data I calculated the Marine DPS. The Marine DPS is just damage divided by cooldown. So for example, 6 divided by this is a DPS of 9.84. And finally I calculated the Marine damage output until the Marine dies. So for example, when the Marine has an average lifespan of 3.3 seconds and a DPS of 9.84, the total damage output until the Marine dies is on average 32.7. Okay, and with this number, Marine damage till death, we can now compare the 5 scenarios regarding the total damage output of the Marine. And we see that the +1 attack scenario actually has the highest total damage output until the Marine dies, 38.2. The other scenarios are approximately equal. For example, shield has exactly the same total Marine damage output compared to armor and non. That's because the number of kills doesn't change, and also because the DPS is the same in these 3 scenarios. So you only have the +1 attack that is different because the Marine just deals more damage per shot. And this one is also different because the cooldown of the Marine is shorter. And now we can see that according to this calculation, the +1 attack upgrade should be by far the strongest. This value is considerably higher than all the others. And now we look at the results table of the simulation, and what we see is that the calculation is able to predict the winner in an okay manner. So here we have the highest Marine damage output, and this was the only case where the Marine won with 30 Marines remaining. Okay, and in all of the other cases the Adepts won, and the number is approximately the same, 5766. It's not a big difference, just because the total damage output also is quite similar in these scenarios. And I also want to do a couple of supplementary analysis. So number 1, what about a Medivac? So the price of one of these upgrades is the same price as a Medivac. So now we have unupgraded Marines, no upgrades, but with a Medivac. Let's see who is going to win. Attack. We have 5 Adepts surviving. Now back to the upgrade analysis. I now want to repeat the upgrade analysis, but with no glaive Adepts, okay? So now we have Marines with combat shield against Adepts with no glaives. Attack. It's a win for the Marines with 13 remaining. Next test, Stim Pack Marines against no glaive Adepts. Attack. Stim. We're still on equal supply, by the way. Looks pretty bad for the Adepts. And we have 16 Marines remaining. Next round, +1 attack Marines versus no glaive Adepts. Attack. Again, it's a very nice win for the Marines with 23 remaining. Wow. And final test, +1 armor Marines versus no glaive Adepts. Attack. Still, it's a win for the Marines with 13 remaining. And the no upgrade Marines versus no glaive Adepts. Attack. Even without any upgrades, the Marines win with 12 remaining. Dudes, and here we have the final results summary. So the Medivac doesn't do a lot, I think, because the army size is just pretty big, and upgrades get stronger as army size get bigger. So if you have a huge army, like a 40 supply, the upgrade is much more powerful than a single Medivac. And if we look at the simulation with the no glaives Adepts, that's actually pretty interesting, because we see that in each of the scenarios, the Marine wins versus no glaive Adepts. So Adepts with no glaives are pretty weak against Marines. And if we compare these 5 results here, we also see that the +1 attack is by far the strongest one, followed by Stim Pack, and the shield, armor, and base case are approximately the same. Alright dudes, that's it. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. And don't forget to take your +1 attack upgrade when you are using Marines against Adepts. See you next time.